Hello, everyone. Very good morning. So, with that, let's take a look at the agenda for today's session. So, first, I'm going to talk about the Manage Engine IT operations offering. So, what are the softwares we have under the IT operations section? And then we talk about the the recent changes that's happening due to digital transformation. So, what are the changes that's happening? How the organizations are getting prepared and getting ready for this new digital era, and then we talk about monitoring all aspects of your IT to stay ahead in the game. So, what has been changed in the during the lockdown, and how your organizations are reacting to that? How you're handling the workforce that are working in the remote locations now, and what are the changes that you're dealing with in the network, and so on. And then we will talk about some of the new features that's been released in the products and IT operations category, and we are going to talk about that. And also we are going to talk about the roadmap. So what is coming up in the future, we'll also discuss about that. And at the end of the session, we'll have a Q&A. So if you have any questions, you can post it. And also we have a panelist team available right now. So you can go ahead and post any questions during the course of webinar. You can post it and our panelist team can answer your questions then and there. So with that, I'd like to introduce you to ManageEngine ITOM Solutions. See, all the outer layer that you see here are the products of ManageEngine under IT operations section. So I'll start from the top, network performance monitoring. This, so all the outer layer, the products that the bubble that you see on the outer layer are available as a standalone product, and as well as it is available as one integrated solution with a product name called OpManager Plus. So I'll give you a brief introduction about these products, each of these products. So the network performance monitoring is OpManager products that helps you monitor your router, switches, firewall, printers, and network cameras. So any device that has an IP and SNMP enabled can be monitored in OpManager. So it helps you identify the network faults, and also you can use the IT workflow automation to automatically fix the issues that's been identified in the network. Helps you monitor your virtual environment as well, the VMware, Hyper-V, Citrix N7, and so on. And the second one that you see is bandwidth and traffic analysis. So this product is called NetFlow Analyzer. So it uses flow technologies to generate reports. So all you need to do is just export your net flows. It supports various flows like NetFlow, JFlow, SFlow. So you just need to ensure that you export the net flows from your router to NetFlow Analyzer server, and then it helps you do all the bandwidth and traffic analysis. So you can get to know where the traffic is coming from and where it's going to, with details such as source IP address, destination IP address, and so on. And next we have is the configuration management. So this product is called network configuration and compliance and change management. So this helps you reduce the configuration errors that's happening in your network. So you can also control this using features like role-based access control. So you get to know who is doing what change in your network at what time, whether it's an approved change or an unauthorized change, and whether the valid changes that goes to the devices are compliant to the industry standards or not. So everything can be tracked. You can take the backup of the configuration changes of your network devices like router, switches, firewall, and store it with versions. And next we have is firewall management and log analysis. So this helps you protect your network from threats and from the hackers and the internet. So it also helps you do the rule management. So in firewall you'll be having thousands and thousands of rules. So you get to uh, know what kind of rules are overly used, what kind of rules are over permissive, and so you can easily optimize and understand. So if a rule is placed in the lower order and performing too low, which is being used widely, so you need to reorder that rule. You can use these rule management analysis using firewall analyzer and do that. You can also do you can also monitor the VPN traffic. You can do the VPN management with firewall analyzer product as well. And with storage monitoring, you can do monitor the storage devices like RAID and tape libraries. You can also get the forecast report of the storage space, and you can also monitor the FC switches in the storage network area. And with IP address and switch port management, it helps you identify any rogue devices in your network. It helps you manage the IP addresses available in the subnet. And with Applications Manager, it helps you do a code level in depth analysis with all the components of your infrastructure. So you can get to know if an application is slow, you can get to know why it is slow, whether it is slow because of the query that is taking too long to execute, or it is because of a media file that's been used on a web page that is slowing down the performance, and so on. So with that, I'll move on to the next slide. So digital transformation is happening quicker in all the organizations, right? So it's happening quicker in throughout the world, and it forces all the companies to change their business model or business strategies to adapt to the new market reality. So with that, here I have published the survey results of Manage Engine. So here is what the respondents have think about the digital transformation in their organization. So the 60 percentage of them have responded that they're looking to adopt the cloud solution. So they are actually looking to move their applications that are present in on-premise to cloud, and that is 60%. And 63% of them have responded that they're looking to improve or bring in features or products with AI technologies and analytics tools. So most of them think that they wanted to bring in automation with ML based and AI based features, and 56 percentage of them saying that they're looking for security products to improve security, because now the workforce is working remotely, and you have made a lot of changes in your network according to that. So you need to also make sure that you protect your network, because you allow the users who used to work in the office environment were safely protected by the network or by office network, but now they are working outside the network and trying to gain access to your corporate network. So there are chances that the hackers who are trying to use them to compromise the network. So you need to make sure that you have you have security features or security products to protect your network from such threats. And while these organizations are looking to do digital transformation in their organization, and we also have an interesting stats from OpsView that says that only 50 percentage of the organizations are able to sustain this or successfully do this digital transformation strategies, and 50 percentage of them uh, were failing to do this or achieving this digitization goal. It is because they are not able to uh, look at, I mean, they are not able to give equal importance to the technology, the people, the process, and everything. So you need to make sure that you also give importance as if you're giving it to the technology. You need to also bring people together, because now the remote force, the remote workforce, you need to make sure that they collaborate well so that they can be more productive. You need to make sure that they have tools to collaborate well. Say, for example, we have Zoho Click and available to do all these collaborations. So you have a remote team, you have a new project coming up, and you wanted to bring people together. You can actually create multiple channels that allow you to collaborate. So you can quickly check on the status, you can share files, you can do a quick group call, and so on. So how to use IT operations management to drive maximum value? So you will be dealing with a lot of manual process. So you need to make sure that you move all these manual process to digital. And as I said, you need to give priority to security products so that can enable you to protect your network. And you also need to make sure that you have a unified infrastructure monitoring approach. So because I would say that the minimum you'll be having an enterprises minimum they'll be having 5 to 8 different products. So they might be procuring these products at different times, different period, and they might be uh, purchasing these products from different vendors because of the offers or because of the feature offering, because of um, uh, the discounts that they get. They require these products from different vendors available in the market in different time periods, and you got to make sure that whether these products talk to each other well, so that when something goes wrong and you're able to, your product should be able to tell you where exactly the problem is. Rather, you should not invest more time on these products. You should not invest time on each of these products to identify where the problem is. So you need to make sure you have a unified approach to your IT operations management. And as I said, now the digital transformation is happening, and you're moving all the on-premises application to cloud, and you will also be holding on some of your critical application on-premises for various security reasons. So you also need to make sure that you have end-to-end visibility on your on-premises and cloud components as well, and embrace new technologies. As we discussed before, you need to make sure that you bring in a lot of automation features, AI and ML based features to uh, automate the process. So with that, as I said, we have the IT operation solutions available. So all the products that we discussed in the initial slides are available as a module inside one product called OpManager Plus. So we're going to discuss about each of these as use cases. So first, I would like to talk about how why you should monitor your on-premise and cloud application. So with that, I'm going to give you a scenario. So recently, we moved some of our end user application to cloud. We don't have enough visibility into those applications. So is it possible to monitor those applications? Yes, when you have your application hosted on premises, you have in-depth control over these products, and you know where the product is located, and you know what to monitor, and you know what is the CPU condition, what is the memory utilization of the server, and so on. And while you move your application to the cloud, so how do you ensure that you monitor these the performance of these applications? How do you ensure that the end users are not affected, or even when the product is affected, when the application is slow, how do you identify a problem before it affects the end user? Even so, this is one of the information that we uh, got from the market guide of Gartner. So Gartner says that improve your user experience by choosing the network performance monitoring tools that provide an end-to-end view of how the network impacts overall an individual user application experience. So how do you ensure that the application, whether it is on premises or whether it is hosted online on the cloud application, how do you ensure you monitor these applications, and how do you know there is a problem before it affects the end user? So the applications manager product help you do that. With that, I'll quickly navigate to the product and show you how this can be done. So you can discover your applications into applications manager, whether it is on premises or whether it is cloud application, and you can start monitoring these applications, and that gives you more insight into the application. And so you also need to get to monitor the app desk's score. So that gives you an information of how many users are frustrated using your application, how many users are tolerating the slowness, how many users are actually satisfied using the application. So you can get these data from different location, so you know how the application is performing in multiple regions. And you can also get to know the transactions of whatever the transactions. So when a user visits a website, your application, so which are the pages that he is navigating to, and what is the query that is being executed at the background, whether it is slowing down the performance or not, what is the average response time, what is the hit count, So, and if there are any errors that's happening because of a Java code, JavaScript error, and there is a JavaScript error in this line, and that errors can be captured and can be shown the traces. So this can be reported to your engineering to fix the problem. And what are the exceptions? So you can capture all these information. So that is how you can identify all the informations and the product. And next use case is also with on the same note with applications manager. So I have a dynamic environment in AWS. Due to high load on my instances, auto scaling is enabled. So this customer had enabled auto scaling in his E2S instances. So however, I'm not clear on how many EC2 instances is created or deleted. So he's not aware of how many. So it's a dynamic environment, and because of the load, it is going to automatically add as many instances as possible. And when the load is low, and it is going to delete the instances that are not required. So this user particularly wants to know when there is an instance, this new instance is created, or when there is a deletion. So how it can be done? So you have to ensure that you configure the alert notification when an EC2 instance is created or deleted. So you can also get a report of how many instances are running over a span of time, what is the minimum value and maximum value, and so on. So this can also be done. And when you go to monitor section, and you can add the EC2 instances, and you can get to one of the applications that you're monitoring, and you go ahead and edit the monitor, you will be able to configure the threshold for these alarms. So since it is an online demo, I think the edit option is disabled. So when you have the product, you already evaluating the product or using the product, you can go ahead and do that, or you can download the trial version from our website and get to know about it. And next, we not only we monitor the application user experience, you can also monitor the application resources like CPU, memory, disk utilization. You can monitor the VM environment. You can monitor the containers, databases, ERP suites, and applications manager. You can also monitor the URL. You want to know what is the performance of a specific URL, what is the availability of the URL, what is the response time of this URL. So when you go ahead and execute, or when you access that particular link, what is the response time, and so on. You can get to know all these informations. You can also search for certain string, and when some string goes missing in that particular page, you can also get a notification on that. So with that, we'll move on to the next section, why a configuration and compliance management is a must. So you must have noted that the recent Facebook and WhatsApp downtime was because of a faulty configuration change. The faulty configuration change may look simple, but the impact is huge. As you saw, the downtime of 6 hours, how it hurted Facebook and WhatsApp. So OpManager notified that one of our main links that to the data center is down. And after hours of analysis, we found it was because of an unauthorized faulty configuration change. So how can we track such change to avoid unexpected disaster? So how you can do that is, so you can enable the change notification. So once when any change is executed on a particular device, say you enable syslog based change detection. So anyway, the user is going to log in to the client and execute so certain changes that he wanted to do and going to log out. So when he logs out, it triggers a syslog notification. So with the help of that, the product can easily identify what changes, there's something changed on this device, and notify you. So with that, you can easily identify when a change is made, and also how you can prevent the unauthorized changes happening in your network is what you can use the role based access control. You must be having multiple administrators working in your organization who are into the change management, who are doing multiple changes onto the network devices. As you get many requests from your from each department, or you do a lot of changes in products, you add more users, you add more applications. So on a daily basis you'll be doing a lot of changes, and when you have multiple administrators, you have to know who's doing what change at what time, whether it is an approved change or invalid change. You get to know that. So you can provide access, operator access, to all the administrators who are working into this change management. And you can have the supervisors as added as admin user. So when operator do any changes, that it is going as a draft to the supervisor or the super admin, who is going to review that, and he's going to approve only when it is when it is a valid change, and reject if it is not a valid change. So with this, with help of this, you get to know who is doing what change at what time, and whether it is a valid change or not. So I can also show you that in the product. I'm sorry, it's a bit slow. Okay. In the meantime, I'd like to move on to next slide and talk about something related to this. So the next use case we have is, we have our 1006 Cisco network devices, and we found out some of our devices were not detecting back-to-back failed login attempts due to a misconfiguration. This was pointed out as a major vulnerability during the internal audit. Is there a way to identify such devices and make bulk changes? So the requirement is, it need to do a bulk configuration changes to devices. So when you have thousands of devices available in your environment, and you, when you wanted to go for a major update that is that fixes a lot of issues in that version, and how do you do that? So you can identify any violations that are happening uh, in the uh, in the organization's internal policy standards, or uh, with the industry standards. So any policy that is violating, the product can easily identify what devices are violating, and it can list those devices. And if there are any firmware upgrades available, you can also add configure and associate that with the policy that are available, so that when the devices are listed, you can also have the policies, you can also have the configure associated parallelly. So when something goes wrong, when this device is identified, you can just, with the help of a single click, you should be able to ensure that you're compliant to the industry standards. So this is the product that I was talking about. It's OpManager Plus, and when you go to the network section, you will see all the various modules that we discussed right now. And when you go to configuration management, I'm sorry, the online demo is pretty slow. Just give me a moment so I can show you what we discussed right now. All right. So I'll go to configuration management module. And this lists the devices that you're monitoring. And let me pick this device, for example. I think something is wrong. All right. So I think something is wrong with the online demo. not able to showcase this for you. I'm very sorry about that. So if you are interested to see these functionalities, I request you to write an email to us, or just mention that you're interested in the chat panel, and I will have our technical team to arrange a call or to showcase these products to you. So with this configuration management, you can also do the backup configurations of the network devices. You can schedule it. So whenever a change is made to the startup or the running configuration, you can do a backup and store that. So you can also mark one of your configuration as the stable configuration. So when there is a downtime, when something goes wrong, when the network is off because of a faulty configuration change, so you know that there is a stable configuration available, and you can just roll back to the previous configurations. And you can also prevent security issues by scanning and managing the firmware vulnerabilities. So if there are any vulnerabilities in certain version or certain model, and you wanted to do a firmware update to certain devices, so as I said, you can have a configlet created for that, associate that to the group of devices that you wanted to get executed. So you can ensure that you have a bulk configuration change done for the firmware upgrade. With that, we'll move on to the next module: network bandwidth and traffic complications uh, that are serious problems. So learn how you can manage them. So we have been experiencing continuous network slowdown. Though OpManager reports that there are traffic congestions, we are not able to find out the source of the problem. So if any of you listening to this webinar or a customer of OpManager, and you have a similar situation of not able to identify the source which is causing the traffic congestion, so this net flow analyzer is an add-on available. So it is available as one of the module inside the product in OpManager Plus, but when you are using a standalone product, this comes as an add-on, and you wanted to do an in-depth traffic analysis and identify who is causing bandwidth chokes in your network. So you can use this net flow analyzer add-on and start monitoring it. At least I can check if the net flow analyzer product available. So I can show you a quick demo of this add-on. Yes, I think this works. So these are the devices as I discussed about. So in the previous slides, when you wanted to monitor the traffic, you just need to ensure that you export the flows from your router to NetFlow Analysis server, and it automatically picks the device and starts monitoring the traffic. So you get to know the traffic in terms of volume, speed, utilization of packets. And when there is a spike and you want to do a depth analysis, you can just drill down to that specific spike and start monitoring it to get to know what is the in traffic, what is the minimum and maximum, what is the average, and what are the top applications contributing to the traffic, which is the source that is causing the congestion in the network, what is the destination, and so on. With that, we'll move on to the next use case. So most of my employees stream football matches from office during important Premier League matches. So although I don't want to deprive them of this, I am worried that this will affect my business critical services that need adequate bandwidth. So is there a way to strike a balance? Yes, definitely. So what you need to do is you need to make sure that you define QoS policies for these business services. You can ensure that you provide a maximum of bandwidth to your critical business services, and only enable a minimum portion of your bandwidth to such live streaming sites or YouTube sites or any social media sites or any non-business applications. You can just make sure that you provide only less bandwidth to those applications. So this is where you identify. So whatever the QoS policies that's been applied to your devices, it will be listed here. So you can define thresholds and you can identify that. how many QoS policies are available in your network in that particular link. And you can also do so with contextual integration that are available with OpManager and other modules. So it helps you do the configuration changes through the NetFlow network configuration manager add-on. So say you identify the bandwidth that is overshooting for specific application. You can define threshold and identify that this particular application is shooting up in the bandwidth and consuming a lot of bandwidth. Then you can do the configuration changes through the configlet, and it is available in OpManager workflow. So you can create a configlet to ensure that that particular bandwidth is restricted, that particular application is restricted for the bandwidth. So you can ensure that the non-business critical application are not using maximum of your bandwidth. And with that, so you can do in-depth traffic analysis and take informed decision. You can do the capacity planning for the bandwidth. So in case if all your business critical applications are using the bandwidth and you are in need of upgrading your bandwidth, you can add more bandwidth to your network and improve overall network security by managing VPN and firewall devices. So this comes with a firewall analyzer module. So here is a scenario in Q1 2021. There was a 1916% increase in the attacks against Fortinet SSL VPN and a 1527% increase in Pulse Connect Secure VPN. So these vulnerabilities allow a threat actor to gain access to a network once they are in. So they can exfiltrate information and deploy ransomware. So is your VPN safe? So how do you monitor the VPN now that all our employees are working remotely, and you need to ensure that they are offered. If you must be lucky if you have most of your business critical services that are already moved to cloud, then you're a happy customer or you're a happy admin. But in case if you have all your business critical applications that need to go through VPN, then you need to manage the VPN. You also need to protect the VPN from such threats. So how do you do that? How do you know who logged into your VPN, how many VPN login attempts failed, and how many VPN logins occur every day, and how many VPN user sessions are currently live? And when what is the peak time? Well, during the peak time, how many VPN, how many users connect to VPN? And during such time, whether the application is performing well, whether or it is slowing down the performance of the application during the peak time. What is the maximum number of VPN connections that you have? You can do that with the firewall analyzer module. I can quickly show you a demo with firewall analyzer as well. Go to VPN. So under the reports, you have VPN reports. So you get to know the active VPN users, the VPN sessions, what is the username, what is the host IP address, and what is the start time. So when he connected to the VPN, and how long, what is the total duration that the VPN session was active, what is the start time, end time. So you can get to know that, and who are the top users that are contributing to the traffic, what is the total number of hit counts, what are the websites that they are accessing, when was the last login, and what is the VPN usage, what is the usage trend, and what is the status, how many online users you have, and the overall active sessions, the connection statistics. So all these reports can be tracked using the VPN reports and firewall analyzer module. And the next scenario we have is I had to manually review around 2000 rules. So here we talk about the firewall rules. So 2000 rules across 7 firewalls, Cisco, ASA, and FortiGate, and look for excessive permission services, etc. And I had forgotten to remove an outdated firewall rule that allowed unauthorized network access. So this is a serious problem. So you need to make sure that you get to know the among the thousands of rules that you have created, what are the outdated firewall rules, and you have to be really careful when you remove any rules from the firewalls. So that is what this product is going to help you with, the rule management. And I can show you that. When you go to rule management, you get to see the all the total number of rules that are available in your firewall. What are the allowed rules, what are the denied rules, what are the total number of inbound rules that you have, what are the total number of outbound rules that you have. And you have also, the product helps you identify the inactive rules. So how long these rules are inactive, whether it is for a couple of months or whether it is for a couple of years. So whether you want to, so you can take a call on whether to remove these rules from the firewall or not, and how many are having over permissions. So whether it is going to be a security threat, so you can identify such things and ensure that you remove those rules or reduce the permission of those rules. And with the policy anomalies, you can get to know the number of redundancy rules, the correlation, what are the rules that are shadowing, what are the group rules. And under the rule suggestions, it can give you the suggestions to fine tune the overly permissive rules. So you can control the permissions that's been given, over permissions that's been given to certain rules. So this is how you can optimize the rules using the firewall analyzer. And you can also analyze your network activity and capture any anomalous security events happening in your network with firewall analyzer. And it also helps you with the number of users who are accessing the banned websites. So you actually get to know. So when you restrict certain websites in your network, and still how many users are continuously requesting for that service, and you get to know that report from firewall analyzer. And next we have is IPAM and switch port mapper. So achieve faster troubleshooting with IPAM and switch port management. So we are slightly clueless about the devices being added to our network on a daily basis. Is there a way to identify and prevent unauthorized additions? So basically, this user want to know if somebody who is trying to gain access to the network, and whether he is connected to the guest network or to the corporate network. So with by identifying or scanning the device's MAC address, you should be able to map it with the existing list that you have, and identify whether it is the guest device, if it is connected to authorized guest network, or whether it is a trusted device, or if it is a rogue device. And if it is a rogue device, you can go ahead and block the particular device that is trying to gain access to your network. So that can be managed under the IP management. So as you can see, when you go to rogue detection, so you get to see the list of devices that are gaining access to your network, and their MAC address, and what is the discovered time, what is the NIC type, and whether it is a trusted device, or whether it is a rogue device, or whether it is a guest device. So you get to know it, and when you see a rogue device, you can go ahead and block it as well. So with that, we are moving on to the next scenario. So without manual tracing, can we monitor the nature of a port usage, such as if it is stacked or connected to multiple Macs? Also, can we find all the connected devices in a port? Yes, it is possible. You can actually discover the devices that are plugged into each port of the specific switch with the port scan capability. So I can quickly show that. So you go to switch port mapper, and this is where it identifies the switches and the ports that are connected. So with the port view, you can get to know how many ports are active and how many ports are inactive, and what are the devices that are connected to these switches and so on. It also provides both manual and scheduled boot up for inactive machines present in the network. So with that, as I told you before, this OpManager Plus is the product that has everything in it as a module inside the OpManager Plus: NetFlow Analyzer, Firewall, Applications Manager, the OpUtils, Network Configuration Manager, and OpManager. All are available as one single solution for you. So you can give it a try. You can go check the demo.opmanagerplus.com if you're interested. And with that, I would like to move on to the next section to talk about some of the new features that are presently released, lately released in our product. So this is one of the interesting ML-based AI and ML-based adaptive threshold feature. So this lets you automatically configure the threshold. So when you have thousands of servers available in your network, and it is a tedious process to define thresholds for your critical metrics. So this this particular feature is going to help you automatically understand. So once you enable this adaptive threshold in the network, in the product, it is going to read the format, it is going to read the behavior of each of your devices that are added to your system, and it is going to analyze and define the thresholds automatically. Say for example, on every Friday evening, you might be having uh, uh, regular activities like an antivirus scan or a backup job. So during such time, the CPU will spike, and if it is a manual threshold creation, then you have to manually tweak the threshold value so that it is not triggering any alarm during that period. And it is again a painful job for administrator to do this when you have regular activities. But this AI and ML based threshold automation is going to automatically define these thresholds, understand that there is a regular activity going on, and during such time, the threshold is going to the CPU threshold is going to shoot up, the CPU performance is going to shoot up, and you can have an allowable deviation value set for 10 or 20%. So once it identifies the pattern and defines the threshold, it can also wait for another 10 to 15% and trigger an alarm only if it goes beyond that level. Otherwise, it understands that that is the normal behavior of the server. So this is one of the very interesting feature that's been released in OpManager recently. And we have also started supporting monitoring the Cisco Meraki controllers. So if you have if you have added any Cisco Meraki devices to your network lately and you wanted to add that to your tool for monitoring, yes, we do support that. And an applications manager module, you can get to monitor the performance of your Microsoft Teams. And if you're using Microsoft Teams to collaborate within your organization and you wanted to also track the performance of these applications, yes, we do support that. And monitor and manage the AWS resources and the VPC, virtual private clouds in your network, and you wanted to monitor the performance of these the application hosted in these VPCs, yes, you can still do that using NetFlow Analyzer. We started supporting this. And with Network Configuration Manager, yes, uh, previously we supported monitoring the security devices with the CLI, Telnet, and SSH. And now, lately, with new models that are supporting APIs, and customers are also interested to monitor the devices through API. And yes, we support monitoring this, and you can go ahead and give a try using Network Configuration Manager as well. And this product also integrates with many of our ManageEngine in-house products like Service Desk Plus, Password Manager Pro, Site 24/7, and also the third-party softwares with Slack, Jira, and ServiceNow. And these are some of the upcoming features in various modules. So we are trying to work on a monitoring profile. It is a group of monitors compiled into easy to use profile for a quick association with devices. So if you have a specific requirement, you can create a monitor profile and add all the monitors to that particular profile. And when you have discovered the devices in your network and you wanted to apply this particular monitor profile to those group of devices, you can do that. And we are also working on integrating our OpManager with the third party software like PagerDuty, OpsGenie, and Zapier products. So that is in progress as well. And with NetFlow Analyzer, we are working on support for Cisco performance routing. You can get to see that quickly available in the product in our subsequent releases, and support for multiple instances of DPI as well. And with Applications Manager, we are working on supporting the Azure Kubernetes service monitoring that gives visibility into your performance of your Azure Kubernetes service pods, nodes, and clusters. And with OpUtils, we are trying to support the DHCP service vendor info blocks, and you can get to see that in the product soon. And with Network Configurations Manager, we are also working on simplifying the device templates. So you get to see that in the product soon. And with that, we are coming to the end of this presentation, and this product is being trusted by 42,000 customers and 1 million IT admins throughout the world. And these are some of the awards and recognitions for IT operations products. So we are into Gartner Magic Quadrant, and we are termed as a value leader by EMA. And we have also won the Customer Choice Award in 2019 and the Network Awards recently in 2021. And these are some of our customers throughout the world. The Minneapolis, Federal Signal, NASA are using our various IT operations products for monitoring their network. And these are some of the white paper documents that we released. And these are some of the ebooks that's been published on our website. And if you're interested, you can go ahead and access manageengine.com/itom/ebooks.html. And after this presentation, within 24 hours time, we'll also be sharing this slide deck with you. So you can go through these slide deck. And if you have any questions, you can shoot right now and we can answer all your questions here. Or you can also make a note down of this email address, eval-itom@manageengine.com. So you can go ahead and write an email to us in case if you have any questions in the future. So thanks a lot once again for your time and listening to this webinar, and see you next time. Thank you so much.